1 year ago today, YouTube and fishing saved my life. Now I know that sounds dramatic. Bear with me, because I want to tell you my story and tell you why I say that. So a year ago today, I uploaded my first, well, not my first, but it was the one video that kicked it off. And it was titled, I've Got a Plan, Kinda. I had this baby beard. I was talking about what I wanted to do with YouTube and fishing, how I wanted to be more consistent with it, how I wanted to use it to interact. Now, the story behind this saving my life has everything to do with what I was doing up until that point. Timeout. So you know that time where you're like, just kind of out fishing for fun. You don't bring any cameras with you except this one because you're telling your story about how everything saved your life. And then you go out to a pond where you just got a bunch of little dinks at, and you catch one like this. Holy crap. Turns out there's still big ones in here. Let me see if I can set this camera up and show this guy off without everything falling over. So this guy came on the old chatterbait. I saw him follow it up to the bank, and I just stopped it at the bank because he swiped at it at the bank, and I stopped it, and we caught him. I don't know if this footage is going to turn out or not, but that's a big freaking fish.
Oh my gosh!
Well, this video is turning out very different than I planned. I just stepped knee deep in some water, stepped on what I thought was a beaver dam. It felt stable at first until I put my big fat weight on it. And now I've got a boot full of water. I'm gonna peel off here. Socks full of water, boots full of water. I have to wrap the day of fishing up a little early. I don't need no trench foot, you know what I'm saying? Well, that kind of wrapped up my fishing trip a little early. No, I wanted to get home. It's pretty windy now, but I'm not done. I want to keep telling you guys about this. I'll tell you about my first year on YouTube and how it changed me for the better, saved my life, and made me maybe the person I am today. These dogs, man, these dogs. Let's get over to the office. All right, that's a little better. So let's backtrack. Let's go back to fishing and how I first started. I grew up fishing, went fishing with my dad, and my first taste of fishing was, bobber and a worm, bobber and night crawlers, and that was it. And it was catching bluegill. And I mean, that's all I knew, but I was, and no pun intended, but I was hooked from the jump. I loved fishing, and I knew that's what I just absolutely loved to do. I didn't know anything about fishing. My dad, bless his heart, he didn't know much about bass fishing either. And all I knew at the time was, I wanted to get the brightest color stuff. I would go get those little rebel grasshoppers, and that was my go-to. I caught the most fish on those little rebel grasshoppers, and then it was spinner baits and crankbaits, and I just wanted the brightest color stuff. Again, I didn't know anything about it. It was just a cast and retrieve, spinning tackle, open face reel. That's all I knew. I kind of got out of touch with the bass fishing because my cousin Jim introduced me to catfishing. And I was like, this is freaking sweet. I love catfishing. It was chicken livers and sitting out at night and just waiting. And I loved it because I loved the fight. I loved how catfish fought, and that's all I wanted to do. And as I grew older, I kind of lost touch with that. Introduce alcohol into my life. And I joined the Army, served in the Army, deployed to Afghanistan, actually got out of the Army. I got an on-post DUI. I was discharged, under general condition, or a general discharge under honorable conditions. And I got out and I became an alcoholic. I would wake up in the morning and I would crack open a beer. And that's just because I was thirsty. And I didn't realize I was an alcoholic at the time. I loved to drink, and I loved being drunk. It was kind of my escape. And that's really just kind of where it took me. and I would go out and get drunk. And my biggest awakening was last year, early last year. And I haven't really told just about anybody this. And I'm telling the internet, I'm telling you guys this, and I'm hoping that it helps somebody. My biggest awakening was there was a night that I came home, stumbled in the house at about 2:30, and I had driven home, and I had driven drunk multiple times, and no care for anybody else that was around me. It was horrible, and stumbled in the house, and I was starving because I was hammered. And my wife, none the wiser, she knew that I was going out. She knew what I was doing, but she didn't know how bad I was becoming and how much I was getting sucked back into that life. I was functioning, 100% functioning. But I had come home that night and I was starving, and I started to eat some food, and I sat down on the couch and I just kind of tilted my head back. The room was spinning, and I'm pretty sure I reclined the chair, and I woke up having to puke. I had to puke, and I ran to the bathroom, puked, looked at myself in the mirror, and I had actually already thrown up. I had thrown up in my sleep. It was on my face, on my shirt, it was everywhere. And I realized that next day, and again, I went and cleaned the living room. It was all over the living room. I cleaned the carpets, I cleaned everything. I tried to do everything in my power to, mask what had just happened. And I realized that I had just almost become one of those statistics. I had almost been one of those people that died by choking on their own vomit because they were so drunk they could not regain consciousness and wake up. And that was a pretty rude awakening for me. Was that the end of my drinking? No, that wasn't. It was, I kept doing it. I just didn't allow myself to get that drunk anymore, but I kept on drinking. What snapped me out of it was when my buddy Nick, call him Big Nick, he had messaged me, and he'd been trying to get me to come out and go snagging multiple times. And I was like, okay, dude, I'll go. What time do I got to wake up? Well, we're leaving at 5 a.m. Okay, I need to be up at 4 a.m. So that Friday night, I was like, I'm not going to go out tonight. I'm not going out. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I don't want to wake up hungover. I don't want to wake up drunk. I don't want to feel like crap all day. So I was like, okay, not going out Friday night. I got out there, and I did a little bit of snagging, but I took my camera with me. And it reignited my passion for being outdoors. It reignited the passion for the love of outside that I had when I grew up, that I had when I was fishing, that I had when I was all these things. So then it was, okay, I want to go fishing tomorrow. So I didn't go out Saturday night, and I didn't get drunk, and I woke up bright and early and went fishing Sunday. And then it was, okay, can I take this and take this and put them together? Now, I've been asked, how did you get started on YouTube? Well, my buddy introduced me to Casey Neistat, and that's when, my passion for photography, cinematography, content creation got ignited. I've always loved photography. I didn't know anything about videography. So I set out on this journey of researching everything that I could. And this was before the fishing had started. So it was Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, Matty Hopia. I butchered his last name, but those guys, I just wanted to learn everything that I could about photography and cinematography, videography, whatever you want to call it. And I was obsessed with, this thought that I wanted to vlog. Well, I didn't have anything to vlog. I had no story to tell, no nothing, and it was just a pipe dream. So when the fishing started up, I was like, I can take this, I can take this, I can put them together. I can do this. Now, when I first started my first fishing vlog in a neighborhood, I had my GoPro on my chest, and I was crouched down. I didn't want anybody to see me with a freaking GoPro on my chest. I didn't want anyone to see me. I was embarrassed. And I did that footage. I caught my first bass of that year, and I went out and I went home, and I dumped all the footage and I started to edit everything, and I was like, holy crap, this is it. This is it. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to go fishing every weekend and every weekday that I can. And I mean, when I gave myself the name Oklahoma's Worst Angler, it was John was there, and I had missed so many fish that day, and I was like, I've got to be the worst fisherman in Oklahoma. And we kind of laughed about it, and then I had a thought, and my brother-in-law Gage, he had told me, when I told him that I wanted to do YouTube, he was like, dude, my YouTube page was basic. I didn't have a profile picture, I didn't have a background picture, I didn't have any of that stuff. He's like, dude, you can't have a channel without a name. You can't just go by your name. You can't have a channel without a photo or a wallpaper photo. You can't do any of that stuff. You got to have something. And when I said I've got to be the worst fisherman in Oklahoma, that's when it clicked. And I was like, John, I'm going to call myself Oklahoma's Worst Angler, because I am. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm the worst. I didn't know how to use a Texas rig. I didn't know how to fish a jig. I didn't know how to properly throw a crankbait. I didn't know how to use a bait casting reel. I was literally out there with spinning tackle. So all last year, I set out to learn. And I learned Texas rigs. I learned jigs. I taught myself how to throw a bait caster. It was a struggle for a long time, but I learned all that stuff last year. And in this year, March 18th to March 18th, I have missed one full weekend of fishing. I have gone every either Saturday or Sunday or both days, and almost every Wednesday, but I have not missed but one weekend of fishing in an entire year. In an entire year on YouTube, I've gained over 2,000 subscribers. I've hit 100,000 views. I have made multiple friendships. I've met so many cool people. In a year, I have not driven drunk. I have not been drunk in an entire year. I have not put my life at risk. I have not put others' lives at risk by driving on the road. I have not put my family at risk from driving drunk, from being intoxicated. Have I had drinks? Yes. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is, I kept myself from falling back into alcoholism with fishing and YouTube, because I was able to create or combine these two passions of mine: creating content, telling a story, fishing. I was able to put them together, and it saved my life. And again, I know that sounds dramatic, but 100% saved my life. And I would not be here without you guys. I wouldn't be here without the guys and the people that are watching, that comment, that like the videos. We do a live stream every week. I talk to some of the same guys every week, and I love it. We've created a community here. I've created a family, and I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful to you guys, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to tell my story, and I hope that maybe it will inspire somebody. It doesn't have to be fishing. It doesn't have to be YouTube, but find something that ignites your passion that will maybe pull you out of that dark place. That's what I did. And that's why I am here, and man, I'm happy I'm here. And I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing. I've had a wild ride, and it's just getting started. And I cannot wait until March 18th of next year to see how much further we have come. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Guys, thank you. I say it every time. I appreciate every single one of you. And I don't say that lightly. I mean it 100% from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time we're on the water.